Hello, welcome to What's Up Farmers Markets, the BCAFM Podcast. I'm your host, Jocelyn Chung. This is a special episode about finding love at a farmer's market. Join me in checking out their incredible story. It is no secret that finding love is difficult. Our guests Paul and Quinn found each other organically at the farmer's market.
Hi, I'm Quinn. I currently work with BCAFM for the Nutrition Coupon Program as the Senior Coordinator. I'm from Calgary. I can't say just anymore. I moved out to BC almost 7 years ago now. I've lived here in New West that whole time, and I got involved with my local farmers market, first as a volunteer and then as market manager before I started working for BCAFM.
My name is Paul, and I own and operate a mushroom farm located just outside of Vancouver in Squamish, British Columbia. I was born and raised in Ontario and moved out to British Columbia about 12 years ago to follow my dreams of snowboarding and living the ski bum life out in Whistler, and did that for quite a while and worked with a corporate background with restaurants for the better half of my life. And then just before COVID, I decided to turn one of my kind of lifelong just hobbies into my full-time job. I was always wanting to follow in mushrooms. I started about almost 10 years ago. I started purchasing mushroom grow bags and just growing them in my apartment in Whistler just for fun and videotaping them and such. And then once COVID hit, it I think for many people, it really just allowed me the freedom to finally take it from an idea or a hobby and turn it into a business. So basically, I would definitely say I have COVID to thank for my current career.
I also came from a corporate restaurant work background that I was looking to get out of after COVID. That's when I got involved with the farmers market, and it was from there that I learned about the Nutrition Coupon Program. I got to know Peter that I work with through our local market, and it kind of just snowballed from there. But I'm glad that it landed me where I am now. So I was working for the New West Farmers Market. I started there as a volunteer first in 2021, and it was from there they had an opening first for the assistant market manager role. So I started in that, then became the market manager, which I did for about 2 years. Peter poached me to come work for BCAFM in the coupon program.
So, how did we get here today? How did you guys get together at the farmer's market?
Well, I believe it was the 2022 market season when
market season.
Paul joined the New West market as a vendor. So he was showing up every week selling mushrooms at the market.
I started at that market. It was my second year doing farmers markets, and I'd been single forever, and I was working at that market, and I hadn't had, I guess, I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but when you get that feeling when you meet somebody and you just kind of know from the first meeting that you'd want to get to know them a little bit more, it's just something kind of triggers where you want to get to know that person more.
And he's super outgoing and super friendly and like best friends with everyone he meets. So I didn't really think I was anything special. I thought he was just a nice guy, and I definitely started catching feelings and, had a crush on the mushroom guy at the market. But
so I started attending the market and seeing Quinn all the time, and we were just super friendly and chatting. And then my neighbors, the vendors beside me, which we call market neighbors, they definitely knew before Quinn knew that I was, you could say, interested in Quinn. and then they kept telling me to just go talk to her, or just say something. And then I was super awkward, and I'm still to this day super awkward. So whenever she would walk by, I would just make it like super known that I was trying to say hello or like give her a big wave. And
yeah, I didn't know. And he would say that, invite me to come check out the farm, but that's a pretty normal thing for market managers to do, to go check out vendors' farms. So I didn't think anything of it until one day he was like, come check out the farm and then we'll go for a beer. And I was like, okay, well, that's a little beyond a market manager's job. So then I started to get an idea. I mean, I used to call him the miscongeniality of the market because he was just so nice and everyone loved him. Vendors, volunteers, customers, everyone loved Paul. So yeah.
One of the reasons that I kind of fell for her was just the way she ran markets. And I came from a managing background, and she just looked super organized and comfortable, like controlling everything in these big crowds of people. So that was kind of one of my first impressions of her, and a little bit nerdy, but like super sweet. No, I wouldn't, and I don't mean nerdy as just one of those like quirky people that you could tell is just super sweet and interesting. So that was my first impressions, and beautiful, of course. Yeah, I think the boss in her was definitely something that drew me in for sure.
I'm still the boss.
And here's the big question: who made the first move?
Because she started to kind of approach a little more, and then we just started chatting, and then it came about where we were going to go foraging together, and then I blew it off for not any reason, like I didn't want to. Multiple twice, just because I guess I was nervous and I was just so removed from a dating environment. So I blew it off, and then finally one day at the market, we just said, look, we're doing it this time. And it was me that initiated it. And then we went on our first date, but it wasn't foraging. The first date was a walk around New Westminster to the pub. And then she walked me up this massive hill. I think it was 3rd Street in New West. And we were both huffing and I was way more than she was, but we were both huffing and puffing walking up. And then from there, we just started spending like almost all the time together. So,
and we'll shout out our friend Kaya from Golden Ears Cheese Crafters, who's the one that was slowly pushing us towards each other. So we got there eventually.
She was one of the market neighbors we were talking about.
Yeah, she was the market neighbor. During the market, when everything's running smoothly, I'd usually be hanging out in his tent. So,
but we were very professional about it. We weren't. You would not, yeah. So I think it would actually be fairly difficult for anyone on the outside to notice that we were actually a couple, because we were both very conscious of that fact.
By the time the next market season started, we were fully in a relationship by that point. But yeah, I feel like we kept it under wraps while we were at the market, trying to keep things profesh.
All my neighbors, like I said, they all knew because they got the hint after a while. And I think I even, in excitement, told some of them, maybe showing up on a Thursday, and said, "You won't believe it, I did it."
Were you guys worried about conflict of interest?
We both came from restaurant jobs and management where that was frowned upon for sure. Where you can't date the staff, and you can't. So we were both very aware of that. So. There was I don't know if there was any issues, but we didn't notice any.
I wouldn't have wanted any other vendors thinking there was any kind of favoritism going on, but I don't think there was. I hope there wasn't.
We're the only mushroom vendors, so
that's true.
We weren't taking anything from anyone, so.
How are things going now, and what are your future plans?
We're moving in together next week, so taking the next step. We have a cat. Her name's Olive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we spend pretty much all the time. I still have some big responsibilities at the farm, so I do take off for 2 days of the week. I spend at my farm in Squamish, and the other 5 days I spend here, so we're pretty full on. And I think now that we're moving into the bigger apartment, I'm going to probably go down to 1 day a week there and try to spend 6 days here, so.
I've definitely gone out on some foraging adventures.
Yep, Quinn was quite good at finding her first chanterelle mushrooms, which was super awesome. yeah, we're doing super good.
How has your life changed since getting together?
I have definitely become a Swiftie.
We did go to the Eras tour together. That was
Yeah.
a special experience for us.
That was super fun. We've been traveling quite a bit actually. In the last year, we've decided to just run away and go to Mexico 3 times and just enjoy tacos and drinks by the beach. And we always make sure we have at least one date night a week. And we love binging, like everyone else, reality TV shows at the moment. I was never a fan, but Quinn has got me to become a very large fan in reality television.
We're watching Love Island right now.
That's the current one. Yeah, Love Island All Stars.
I think he's more invested than I am.
What are your favorite date night plans?
Not to sound cliche or anything, but we still go to various farmers markets every week. And
Paul buys the food and I cook it up for us.
Quinn has taught me the whole world of seasoning. So, like I said, I was cooking on my own for quite a while before, so it was just chicken and potatoes with a little bit of salt. But I am learning how to cook a lot more now. That's for sure.
Do you enjoy Quinn's cooking?
I think she was one of those those sharks that basically came out of the books to lower the expectation and say I can't cook, and then even from the first meal to everything else she cooks, they're super flavorful. I'll cook dinner in 30 minutes and she'll cook dinner in 4 hours, and it'll just be so I think she's a much better cook than she gives herself credit to, and to me she's like a chef. It's awesome to eat her food.
Would you recommend finding love at a farmer's market?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of cool characters at the farmer's market for sure, and I guess the cliche meeting someone at a bar, I guess it's a lot nicer to say I met someone at a local farmer's market, that's for sure.
Whenever people find out how we met, they're usually quite enthralled by the story and think it's adorable we met at a farmer's market, or just that we met in real life and not online. So
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, and especially for that community, if you're moving to moving in from somewhere outside, and I think it's an amazing way to meet people by going and seeing the people in the community.
It's a good way to make friends too, even if you're not looking for love. I've made a ton of the people who are my friends out here now are people I met through the market.
Do you two have any markets you tend to lean towards visiting more often, or any favorites that you may have?
Well, I'm biased towards New West because it's my home market, and I'm still there very often during market season, even though I don't work there anymore much. Port Moody and Coquitlam are the other ones we frequent quite regularly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love them all the Vancouver ones and the Make Bake Grow ones, and then I would say I lean towards the Sea to Sky markets because that's where I grew up. I used to sell way back. I'm dating myself. This is 10 years ago. I used to sell funnel cakes, which was a pastry thing at the Whistler farmers markets. So I've actually been in farmers markets before, and that one holds a special place in my heart. But currently, it would have to go to the Squamish market just because it's such a hidden gem, and it's such a full and packed farmers market, and it's starting to get a lot of the people from Vancouver driving up now to check that one out too. So I love them all, but I would have to give Squamish as my number one right now. And the whole concept of farmers markets was what brought us together, and we both believe heavily in the local food and supporting all the small businesses, and quite a lot of our friends actually. Both of us are market vendors or own businesses, small businesses that are taken off, which is super cool to see. Just yesterday, we went down to Baked and went to their store and had one of their hot chocolates and cookies, and that was super awesome. And it was great to see the people we used to vend with in their storefronts so busy, lineups out the door. So it was super cool. So yeah, we definitely still share the farmers market kind of passion.
What is something that you have learned from each other?
I think I have learned that even if there's no plans to go foraging, you should just always be dressed and prepared for foraging, because if we are driving up the Sea to Sky or anywhere, Paul will just randomly pull over to the side of the road and start venturing into the forest to look for mushrooms. So, and then you might end up being there for hours. So
I did that once with her, and her friend Amy was visiting us, and we had a plan to take this beautiful drive out to the Pemberton Meadows to a place called the Beer Farmers and have a drink and then drive back. But we didn't make it there because while we were driving, I spotted some pine mushrooms on the side of the road. So I immediately pulled the car over, and the girls were like, "What are we doing?" And then we ended up picking pine mushrooms for about 2 hours.
we never made it to the Beer Farmers.
And then we never made it to the Beer Farmers because it was too late by that time.
I've learned to just go with the flow and not expect anything anymore.
And it was right off the side of the road. A cool story about that was that this was the time the pine mushroom picking is a very lucrative business. So in Pemberton, a lot of importer exporters will set up shop, and you can just go pick mushrooms for the day, fill up your bags, and then drive to the mushroom buyers in Pemberton, and they'll buy your whole lot. So it was the first time that Quinn and Amy got to kind of see that aspect of mushroom foraging and kind of how lucrative it was. So we went, and we didn't have any bags, or generally when you go mushroom picking, you're prepared with boxes and bags, but we didn't have anything but my truck. So we were just picking the mushrooms and throwing them in the back of my pickup truck and just driving them there. And then we took them to the mushroom buyers and obviously exchanged them for money. They bought them off us, and then we used that money to go to the Barefoot Bistro for a steak dinner that night.
Any fun traditions you guys do together now?
I don't really know how this came to be, but it was in the early stages, and I guess it was just trying to figure out what to do in the morning. But since day one up until this day, Quinn and I, every single morning, we have coffee and we play a $5 bingo scratch card. And it's just become, it's crazy because it's the only days it's missed is when I'm not here, when I spend the 2 days at the farm. But yeah, we play scratch bingo every single day in the morning before we get our day started together.
And then we put all the money towards going on vacation.
Yes.
This is a question for Paul. I know that mushroom season is starting up. Where can we find you, and at which farmers markets?
We're getting closer. We're about 2 months away from the first big pick of the season, and that'll be the morels. The morel mushrooms will arrive first, and that'll be early April. And then from there, it kind of stays a little quiet until things really pick up in like August and September when all the wild mushrooms are about. And yeah, so we're definitely close. We'll be at the Squamish and Whistler markets again, and then we'll be at various Vancouver farmers markets, Riley Park. It's always changing, so I don't know for sure on those ones. And then we'll be with the Make Bake Grow team again, which is Port Moody and Coquitlam, and of course here in New West as well.
You can join Paul on his foraging journeys and learn more about mushrooms on his Instagram at _mushroom_forager. The farmers market is a great way to connect with your community and learn more about your fresh groceries and where they come from. It's also a great time to check out West Coast Seeds. They have gardening planting guides available to help gardeners grow with confidence. And the best part is, BCAFM members also get a 15% off discount on all seed packets, hard goods, and live goods from the West Coast Seeds website. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of What's Up Farmers Markets, the BCAFM podcast. I'm your host, Jocelyn Chung, and I'll see you next time.